Relationships play a central role in our happiness and resilience and sense of purpose, but building deep, meaningful connections can often be challenging. Over the past 23 years of marriage, I have learned that relationships don't thrive on autopilot. They require intention and effort and sometimes a little creativity. Today, I am sharing 6 powerful strategies that can help you to strengthen your bonds with the people who matter the most, whether it's a partner, a friend, or family. And this is so that you can create the kind of relationships that truly fulfill you. Now, if you've watched me here on YouTube before, then welcome back. But if you are new to my channel, then welcome. I'm Dr. Kim Foster, and I'm an MD turned coach and wellness expert. I was a family doctor for 20 years before leaving the healthcare system to pivot into wellness and personal development, and I am so glad that you are joining me here. Now, let's talk about what it takes to build strong, rewarding relationships. With the first strategy, I want to talk about the way that we express love and affection. One of the biggest barriers to connection is that we often express love in ways that feel natural to us, but they don't always resonate with the other person. Dr. Gary Chapman's work on love languages reveals these 5 different ways that we can express love: words of affirmation, quality time, acts of service, gifts, and physical touch. People feel loved in different ways. When we don't understand somebody's love language, we might pour effort into gestures that just don't land, which means that their needs remain unmet. Several years ago, my husband and I took a quiz to figure out what each of our love languages was, and it was so eye-opening. We realized that we had been expressing love in ways that felt natural to each of us, but didn't always resonate with the other person. Learning about our individual love languages helped us understand each other on a much deeper level and recognize the small but meaningful shifts that we could make to show love in ways that truly mattered. It's been such a simple but powerful tool in strengthening our connection. As a family doctor, I frequently saw couples whose frustrations boiled down to speaking a different love language. One partner might lavish gifts on the other person, thinking that that is the best way to show how much they love them. But meanwhile, what the partner really craves is verbal affirmation or maybe physical touch. So this is strategy number 1. Take the time to learn each other's love languages and share your own. I recommend starting by taking the love languages quiz together and then experiment with expressing love in your partner's language for a week. Watch their reactions to different gestures to identify what resonates. Okay, let's move on to strategy number 2, which is something that a lot of couples struggle with. Here's the thing: without shared goals or a vision for the future, relationships can feel directionless. Over time, this lack of alignment can create a sense of drifting apart. Shared goals act like a compass, giving your relationship purpose and direction. Research shows that couples and friends who dream and plan together experience greater satisfaction and a stronger sense of partnership. Several years ago, my husband and I sat down to map out what we wanted the next decade of our life to look like. It wasn't just about practical goals, it was about dreaming together. We talked about travel and how we wanted to raise our kids, and even the kind of home environment that we wanted to create. This exercise not only gave us clarity, but also reminded us that we were a team. The Stoics, particularly Marcus Aurelius, believed in aligning actions with long-term purpose. This philosophy applies beautifully to relationships. When you work toward a shared vision, it strengthens your bond. So strategy number 2 is to write a future vision together. What you can do is set aside some time and just write down where you see yourselves in 1 and 5 and 10 years. You can create a vision board together with photos and quotes and goals. Revisit your vision regularly and adjust it as needed. And remember this African proverb: if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. All right, let's move on to the next strategy. Now, spending too much time together or falling into the same routine can make relationships feel stale. When we're always around someone, we can start to take them for granted. Psychological studies show that absence genuinely does make the heart grow fonder. When we spend time apart, it rekindles appreciation and helps us to see our loved ones with fresh eyes. Every so often, my husband and I take separate trips. A couple of years ago, I went to Vancouver to do a week-long acting intensive because I was having a lot of fun revisiting my childhood love of acting. And every once in a while, my husband goes away for a boys' weekend to Vegas, for example. We both enjoy the time to do our own thing, and we also find ourselves looking forward to reconnecting and sharing our experiences. In my medical practice, I definitely saw patients whose relationships improved after rediscovering their individuality. By nurturing their personal interests, they brought more energy and positivity back into their partnerships. So this strategy, number 3, is to plan intentional time apart. Now, here are some ideas. You can take a solo day to pursue hobbies or spend time with friends, go on separate trips, or plan a weekend apart, and use the time to write each other a letter or plan a surprise for when you reunite. All right, let's move on to strategy number 4. And I want to start this one by pointing out that when we don't engage with what excites the people that we love, it can leave them feeling unseen or unsupported. Curiosity is one of the most underrated tools in building connection. When you take an active interest in someone's passions, it shows that you value their inner world. For example, I love the ritual of tea and drinking tea and trying all different kinds of teas. But my husband, very early in our relationship, said he didn't really care for hot beverages. Not a coffee drinker, not a tea drinker. So I would always just have coffee and my tea on my own, which was fine. But then after a few years, he decided to try having tea. It was the winter. We were actually in the north of France at the time, and it was absolutely freezing there. And so he decided to join me. And he surprised himself with how much he enjoyed it. And after that, he became hooked. And now having tea together is something that we do all the time. Another example, my husband has played golf for a long time. Early on, I wasn't particularly interested in golf personally, but in the past couple of years, I decided to give it a try. Surprisingly, I have found that I really enjoy it, and it's becoming a passion of mine. And it's something that we do together now regularly. This past summer, in fact, we went to Scotland and had an absolutely incredible time at Gleneagles Resort in the Highlands. We created a vlog about it actually and uploaded it to our new vlog channel here on YouTube, which I will link in the description in case you are curious about that. So strategy number 4 is to step into their world and try something that they are passionate about. Join them in their favorite hobby, even if it's outside your comfort zone. Ask them to teach you something that they enjoy. You can even plan an outing centered around their interests. Okay, let's move on to strategy number 5. And this is one that's particularly helpful for long-standing relationships, one that you've maybe been in for a long time. The thing is, over time, relationships can fall into patterns, and we start to assume that we know everything about the other person. These assumptions create distance and prevent deeper connection. The Zen concept of beginner's mind invites us to approach people and situations as if seeing them for the first time, with curiosity and openness and wonder. I remember a moment in my marriage when I realized that I had stopped asking my husband questions about his thoughts and his dreams. And one evening I simply asked, "What's something new that you've been thinking about lately?" That one question sparked a conversation that reminded me how much there was still to learn about him. So strategy number 5 is to adopt a beginner's mind and rediscover the people in your life by just letting go of assumptions. Try asking open-ended questions like, what's something new that you've been excited about? You can also simply reflect on what first drew you to them and then explore how they've grown. Or you could revisit an activity or a memory from the early days of your relationship. Okay, that brings us to the final tip that I have to share with you today. And this one is really great for getting out of a feeling of being stuck or even a bit bored. The thing is, relationships can feel stagnant when there is no sense of shared growth or progress. Tackling a challenge together creates bonding opportunities and deepens trust. My husband and I once took a cooking class together, something that neither of us was particularly good at the time. It wasn't just about learning a new skill, it was about laughing through our mistakes and celebrating small victories. That experience strengthened our connection and gave us a really fun story to tell. As a doctor, I saw couples who worked on projects and learning new things together or even specific health goals. Not only did they achieve better outcomes, but their relationships often flourished as they supported each other. So this tip, number 6, is to pick a challenge to tackle together. So here are some ideas. You could enroll in a class or a workshop like cooking or dance or some kind of creative skill. Or you could volunteer for a cause that you both care about. Or maybe you could set a mutual fitness goal like training for a race or trying a new sport. Okay, that's what I've got for you today. Remember, strong, meaningful relationships aren't built overnight. They are the result of consistent, intentional effort. Which of these tips are you most excited to try? Let me know in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, go ahead and share it with somebody that you care about. And if you like this video, I think that you are going to love the one that's coming up on the next screen, and I will see you there. Which means that their needs what? Okay, I lost my train of, which means, right, okay. Again. All right, not bad.